Hey everyone, welcome to our Instagram live tonight with our special guest, Carly Compton. We're just gonna wait for her to join us, and we're really excited that that she's gonna be here. We've been talking for several weeks, and just so excited that she's gonna join us. So just wait for her to come on, and it's so nice to see all of you guys here. Hey, Lisa. All right. Let's see if she wants to join. Great. Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
About the same, about the
Yeah.
same. I was joking today with my amazing team that I get to work with that it's 9 a.m. our time, 9 p.m. excuse me, not 9 a.m. at all, like our time. I'm typically like in my PJs in bed, but I am so excited to be talking to you, Carly. I am such a huge fan. I remember I told Lori after we talked to you just what a breath of fresh air you were and how inspired I was after we talked. So
Thank
thank you
you.
for joining us.
Yeah, of course. And same to you. I admire all of the work that you have done and are doing, and I am more than happy to be here tonight.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we got a bunch of questions. There's a lot I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So, um, I guess first and foremost, to get us started, I would love to know what motivated you. Why do you do the work that you do? Why do you spread the awareness you do? I want to hear all the things. So I would
Yeah.
love to start with that.
Yeah, of course. So, as I shared with you when we had first talked, I myself struggle with an eating disorder. I developed bulimia my junior year of high school, and I battled that for all the way until junior year of college. And it was kind of through my recovery. I personally didn't go through treatment. I did a lot of my recovery with like family and a support team. I had an amazing support team, which is funny. I came across two amazing women on Instagram who had recovered, and they were using their platform to talk about eating disorders and all of these different things. And so they were two huge parts of my recovery. And so I was just surrounded by really inspiring and supportive people. And through my recovery, I realized that I wanted to somehow be a part of I want to say I want to be a part of the awareness and education around eating disorders, because through my recovery, I had this huge realization that there was no education around eating disorders in high school or middle school. I really had no idea what the effects of an eating disorder was. I didn't really know what an eating disorder was until really right before I developed my eating disorder. And so that was really, really eye-opening for me. A little bit about my background. My degree is in elementary education, and so halfway through college, I was a junior in college. Only had a year left of my degree, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if elementary education is really what I'm meant to be doing. And so I kind of am where I am now and taking my education degree to educate and bring awareness to eating disorders, toxic diet culture, body image, all of those things. So I've always loved educating. I've always loved putting information out there. I've always loved, really just seeing that light bulb moment come on for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, when I was in my recovery, I was having conversation with people, and a lot of people who were like, I didn't know that. That is brand new to me. And also, unfortunately, when I was teaching throughout college, doing student teaching, I saw eating disorders in really young ages. And so that was really eye-opening for me. So that's really a really big motivation behind what I do. It's just, I saw a huge lack of education and awareness in such an important area. And so I just thought, you know what, I need to, I need to take what I learned through my recovery and what I learned still, I'm learning every single day, and, you know, using that to help those around me. So that's really what I hope people learn when they either one, interact with me, have a conversation with me, or even are on my Instagram and they're seeing, you know, hopefully they're seeing inspiring and empowering stuff. And hopefully that empowers and inspires them to, you know, really just embrace that body that they've been given. So
I love that. And we've had several people comment about just how awesome it is that you're using your platform to raise awareness, bring attention. And I think I think that's personally why I connected so quickly with you is, you know, I very similarly, you know, went through my own experience with my eating disorder. And, you know, as I started the journey to recovery, you know, for me, I was like, and this was, you know, 20 years ago, and there was literally nobody talking about eating disorders. And I was very perplexed about it. And I'm like, I know that I didn't, you know, I didn't choose to struggle with my eating disorder. I've been given this gift of recovery, and trust me, I worked my ass off to get it. So there was nothing was handed to me under any circumstance. I, you know, unfortunately, because of, you know, managed care and the fact that my family couldn't afford to pay for higher levels of care, like definitely had to, you know, piecemeal, you know, my journey to recovery. And I really wanted to do something. I wanted to give back. I wanted to make a difference. And so, you know, I wanted to have conversations with that 7th grade me, very similarly to what you shared, and just talk to her about why she, him, they, them, whoever it is, doesn't feel like they deserve to take up space or to nourish themselves or to, you know, exist. And I think conversations have to happen. We have to be talking to elementary school students. We have to be, you know, having these important conversations. And I think that, and I think what you do so beautifully on your platform is you really start at the base of like shattering like diet culture, you know, having conversations about the fact that, you know, all bodies are good bodies. Like there's not a standard. So I guess my next question to you would be is if you could take a time capsule back to, you know, being that middle school or elementary school student, or even at the beginning of your journey to an eating disorder, what would you tell yourself? Like, what would you tell like little Carly?
You know, I actually think about this a lot. It's because I'm always reflecting back on, you know, kind of when when I was writing the blog post for you guys, I was really thinking back to, you know, when my insecurities started, and you know why they started or how they started, and it was, you know, around middle school-ish, you know, when it starts to really matter what you look like, or, you know, all of these things. And I personally was the biggest of my friends, and I think that was really hard on me. But now that I look back, you know, I smile because I was an amazing athlete. You know, I was so funny. I had such a great personality, and I let my body stop me from all of these really amazing and powerful things I could have done. I, you know, really neglected fun situations with friends because I was afraid to, for example, like going to the pool with my friends. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Like that's, you know, I can't. And so I think, you know, the best advice I would give myself, middle school, elementary school, Yelly, is that, you know, life is so short. And I know that sounds, you know, incredibly cliche, but I look back now and I'm sad that I missed out on so many opportunities and so many fun things with friends and with family. And so I think, you know, just reminding her that your body is getting you through so much. It gets you through volleyball, it gets you through basketball, it gets you through softball. Like I can do so much. I was so strong. I was amazing as a child now that I look back at it. But you know, I was so focused on my physical appearance and my weight. And so I think that I would just tell myself over and over again that, you know what, this is so irrelevant. This, you know, your physical appearance, your weight is the least interesting thing about you. And really, it's time for you to let your personality shine and to go out and be with your friends and to be at the pool and do all of these things, because, you know, when you get older, it's not going to be you remembering how you felt in your body. It's really going to be remembering those memories. And I really feel that now, because, you know, I have a hard time remembering exact moments where I was feeling uncomfortable in my body, but I don't have a hard time remembering these moments with friends and with family, and, you know, and so I think that's really powerful, is to just, you know, tell myself, like, this is, again, the least interesting thing about you. And I think it's really, really important, especially at such a young age, middle school and, you know, elementary school. Your body's going to change so much. I know, like, in high school, I shot up like 4 or 5 inches, and, you know, in middle school, I was like, oh no, I wish I was this, I wish, you know, and my body was constantly changing. And I think that's also a really important thing, you know, is to remind kids that, you know, your body's always evolving, and you're going to grow into it, and you're growing, and you're, you know, you're taking care of your body, and you're eating, and you're moving, and that's really all that matters.
I love that.
So, yeah, I think that.
You know, and what I love so much is even having these conversations shifts the needle. You know, we had a question is, how do we get like children to see that? And I, you know, I reflect upon this a lot because I do have an almost 4-year-old, and, you know, it's been really interesting watching, you know, having my experience and then watching her, like, so my kid from like after like month 2 was, you know, in the 95th percentile of height and weight. And I will never forget, I was in, I believe it was in Home Goods or TJ Maxx, one of the two, which I'm always to be found at. And I had her cart, and I literally had this human walk up to me and say to me, oh, she's so cute. And I was like, thank you. And she goes, but you really need to stop feeding her so much because she's really, really big. And like, here I am, like, I run an eating disorder organization, like, I'm a body positive advocate. I had nothing. Carly, I had nothing, because I was like, did you just tell me to not feed my infant? Like, did you really just, that just happen? And so it was really, really, really crazy that like this person who I have no idea who they are, like, literally walked up to me and like made this big comment about like my child and her size. I think I might have lost. Oh, I think she left, but I'm sure she will rejoin us as soon as she can. But just to, you know, like, just to talk to the question that was asked, you know, how do we change the narrative? Is we literally change the narrative from the beginning, where we have these conversations with kids. And what Carly so beautifully said, you know, is by teaching kids just how amazing their bodies are, and like, you know, being strong and being able to do all these things is so incredible. So we'll hold tight when during until we get Carly back on. But in the meantime, I did just get a question, and I would love to just hop on and answer that. Someone just asked, how do we get support for your eating disorder during the time of COVID? This is so important. And one of the things that I just want to remind everybody is, even though we still might be, might not be together, that we can still get support from each other. And one of those things is to, you know, join the Alliance in our free weekly clinician-led support groups online. And there she is. Hello.
Sorry, I got like a temperature. It said my phone was too hot. So that was really weird.
I'll tell you, Carly, it's because you're doing a Facebook live or an Instagram live with me, because like all the social media gods hate me. So
that's so weird. So I think it might be because my phone was plugged in, so it was charging, so I unplugged it. So, oh my gosh,
Awesome.
so sorry.
Back. But what I was saying was that, I mean, it's really interesting how just, body culture, body shape and size, I mean, literally starts from like someone commenting on my 6-month-old child. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unbelievable. And just like what else I was saying is just like having the conversation and teaching that like these mini humans that are running around are so much more than their weight. It's having gratitude for everything that your body can do. Like you said that so beautifully of, like, look at how strong I am. Like, look at how like all these things that I can actually do. And I feel like not enough of those conversations are happening. And I'm so grateful that we have platforms like yours, like the Alliance, like some amazing crusaders that are out there and saying, like, F this crap. Like, beauty does not come in one shape or size. Like, I don't need to give myself permission to nourish myself. I don't have to get to a certain ideal to accept myself. So I love that your message back to baby Carly would be, like, don't waste time. It just is so important. And like the last thing I just wanted to add is, and I've shared this with a lot of our support group members, is I was noticing for a while, and like, I mean, I've been recovered for 21 years, and me and my body we're cool. Like, sometimes I find myself in a place of, body love. A lot of times I find myself in a place of body acceptance and body tolerance. And I will tell you that I was noticing that my husband was always taking my little girl in the pool, and I was never in the pool. I kept on taking all these pictures of that pool. And my husband says to me one night, he goes, she's going to look back at all these pictures because we document everything now, right? Like with our phones. And there's not a single picture of you in the pool with her. And like that really had me take a step back and say, going back to like, what you were saying is, so am I really going to hold back from experiencing X, Y, and Z because I don't want to wear a bathing suit? Like, what kind of effed up stuff is that? So I don't have to agree with you.
Yeah.
You wrote a beautiful blog post.
And I often find myself, sorry. I was just going to say, one huge thing for me really, when I was growing up was my mom and no one in my family ever commented on me or my sister's bodies ever. But a huge thing for me was hearing my mom say the things that she said about herself. And so my mom talking about herself the way she did, and her always talking about the new diet she was starting, that she needed to lose X amount of pounds before this. That really affected me because I saw my mom as this beautiful woman, and I was always wondering, like, she's so pretty. Why is she trying to lose weight or change her body? And so then growing up, you kind of just think that that's just something we're supposed to do. You just think that if you're not that ideal body size, then you're supposed to be dieting and trying to lose weight. And so I think that as a parent, and I'm not a parent, but when I do speak to parents, I'm always telling them, like, it's really important to be aware of what you're saying about yourself around your children as well, because like you said, kids, they pick up everything, they hear everything, they, even when you think they're not listening. I have this with my nieces and nephews. I try not to talk about my body. I try not to talk about, or in a negative way, but I'll celebrate it. I'll talk about it in a positive way. And I think that can really help to have your children develop that sense of self-love and that sense of appreciation for their body, especially when their parents are talking that way about themselves.
Yeah, I have to tell you, my little nugget, like, she listens and hears everything that I say, and it's a conversation shift. Like, it just really is. Diet and talking about our body and putting our bodies down, like, that is like America's like favorite pastime. Like, screw football, not what it is. It's just get in, and we get into this fat talk, this like putting ourselves down, like, yeah, like, like, what, like, like, I have like my legs are this, and then what, your legs aren't this, you want this, look at this. And it's like, how is this okay? Like, it's just not okay. And like, you know, and I understand because I spent, my goodness, like decade like long with my eating disorder and like loathing the skin I was in. And then, slowly through my recovery, like stepping into a place where, I had gratitude for everything like our bodies are capable of doing. And I also want to definitely make space for people that it's hard to get there. Like, please, like
Mm-hmm.
everything, like, and I don't know about for you, but like we live in a society that doesn't make it very easy to recover from an eating disorder. Like, let's be
Oh,
real,
yeah,
you know?
I agree.
And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter what eating disorder you're experiencing, is that it's really not easy to recover. And so I think that one of the biggest reasons is diet culture.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I guess my question to you, and you talk so beautifully about like, giving diet culture the middle finger, in so many words, is
Mm-hmm.
why do we, or why should we hate diet culture? Like, what is so toxic about diet culture?
So, like in the blog post, I went way into detail about this, and just really breaking up with diet culture, truly. And I think, one of the most important things is I've had people reach out to me. I've had people who reach out to me who don't agree with what I'm saying in regards to diet culture. People who think that there's nothing wrong with diet culture. And when I refer to diet culture, I really, I'm always referring to it as toxic. I really, truly, personally don't believe there is a part of diet culture that's not toxic.
Mhm.
So when I'm referring to it, I'm always meaning toxic, because from my experience, from working with others, I don't really know anyone who's had a really great experience with diet culture. So it's really, really important to understand that. And I think, it's, to be honest, diet culture is created and is simply existing off of our insecurities. And I think that's a really powerful thing to remember and to understand when you're thinking about diet culture. So when I talk about diet culture, I'm talking about weight loss shakes, I'm talking about workout programs, I'm talking about diet pills, all of these different things that are created in order to make money off of us, to make money off of our insecurities. And I think one of the biggest things I've learned about diet culture, and through my research and everything, is that most programs, most things that are created through diet culture are created with failure in mind.
Mhm.
So when you think about certain diets, you're probably familiar with Hayes. I'm 100% sure you're familiar with Hayes. And Hayes talks about, really that negative cycle that we go through when it comes to dieting. And so oftentimes people who do a diet, they may see results, but then there's that very high percentage that you're going to gain your weight back, if not more. And I think that this is intentional. I think
Mhm.
that diet culture and diets are created because if we were to just do a weight loss program and see the results that we wanted and have that weight be off forever, we would never put more money into diet culture.
Correct.
And so you have to really think of it, it's that never ending cycle of failure and guilt. And so when I talk about diet culture, I just really say, stay away from it, do whatever you can to develop a lifestyle that works for you. Stop trying to do these extreme diets. Stop trying to constantly be losing weight. Instead, move your body in a way that feels good for you, in a way that makes you happy, in a way that brings you joy.
Mhm.
Fuel your body, eat food that makes you feel good, but at the same time, don't restrict yourselves. If you want pizza, eat the pizza. If you want cake, eat the cake,
Mhm.
And so I think by putting that time and energy into really developing that healthy lifestyle that is really focused around you and what works for you, instead of putting
Mhm.
that energy into diet culture, the results, not even just results as in weight loss, that's never really what I think the goal should be ever. It should really just be being healthy and moving and feeling really good.
Mhm.
Um, but there's there's going to be times when you don't feel great, and there's going to be times when, you know, you don't really feel healthy, and that's fine. It's not the end of the world. And I think it's just really important to not turn to diet culture, because I don't think that it is the solution, and I don't think that it's the answer. So I mean, I could go on and on
Yeah,
about diet culture, because it's you know, it's something that we have been trained to think is just normal, as part of, you know, our, it's just something we should all be a part of. And so
totally.
I think it's just really important to speak out against it, and to really share the truths about it, because there's a lot of truths about it that aren't shared.
So true. And we had an amazing comment that I totally related to, is someone shared that diet culture wrecked my intuition with my body, which is really, really challenging there, you know. And I mean, as well as diet culture really teaches us to not listen to our bodies. And I think that, you know, that's such a big thing, especially with the size movement and the big thing. It's so unbelievably important. And like, I will tell you that, like, I'm so grateful for, you know, people like, you know, Lindo Bacon, who brought up, like, you know, who brought up, you know, the health at every size movement, or the intuitive eating, like listening to your body. It's so damn important, because like health at every size means that there is health at every size, and health does not mean the number on the scale. Like, that's such like, health is a combination of everything. It's your mind, body, and spirit. And I will tell you that, you know, what happens, and I really do mean this, is that when you're able to, you know, sort of break free from the shackles in which we're constantly told to hit this unrealistic ideal that we're not meant to hit. Like, you know, we're gonna fail every time. Like, you talked about failure, and they're banking on our failure to continue this, you know, upwards of $70 billion
Yep.
industry a year. And like, how it plays into, you know, one of the environmental factors that contributes to the development of an eating disorder, you know. And the way that we fight diet culture is by having conversations like this. It's by, you know, not spending the money because they're expecting us to spend the money. It's by saying, like, that there are that alternatives to diet culture.
Yes.
We really need to shift the damn conversation around it. Period. End of story. Because
Yeah.
you think that you know, there's so much stigma around, like, you know, body shape and size. There's so many barriers that have been there for time to blow those archaic stereotypes, and just the things that hold us back.
Yep. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think that, I mean, with my experience, the more that I've spoken about it, the more that I've been really open about the truths of diet culture. What an amazing feedback I've gotten from people, of just that response of, I had no idea, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't know that that was the case. I didn't know that it was a $70 billion industry. And, you know, when you really expose it, you know, it becomes something that you don't want to be a part of. You know, you're like, I don't want to give my money to an industry that is literally benefiting and making so much money off of my insecurities. And so I think, you know, and I talked about this a little bit in the blog post as well, is that when we think about our insecurities, it's like, where are these insecurities coming from? You know, are these insecurities are coming from friends and family? And honestly, for me especially, I found that most of these insecurities are created by diet culture. You know, this idea that cellulite isn't good, or stretch marks, or rules, and all of these things, that cause people to feel really insecure. You know, they're created and put
Mhm.
out there by diet culture and media and all of this stuff. And so when you think about that, it's really just, it's crazy. You're like, nope, I don't want to put any more money, effort, time, thought into something so toxic.
Agreed, agreed. And I love when people have conversations around this. Like, so it's no secret that, I totally adore Jameela Jamil. She's fabulous.
Yeah.
I love her. And what she's done to even like, shatter um just even selling, diet products and diet teas and
Mm-hmm.
all the shit that is
Mm-hmm.
on social platforms that are setting us up to fail every single time. And it just continues to, it makes you spiral. And, every
Mm-hmm.
time, think about every time you quote unquote fail at something, you have to pick yourself back up and dust yourself back off. And then, again, like that amazing comment that was, and it gets you further and further away from your intuition, from like being able to take care of yourself in the way that
Mm-hmm.
you we start getting these messages in our head saying that because we don't look like this, then we can't do that. Because we don't weigh this, we can't do that. Because we can't eat that. Or, in order for me to do this, I have to do that. Like, that's bullshit. Like, we
Yeah.
deserve to move our body joyfully. I love that we talked about joyful movement. We deserve to nourish our body because we're humans that are beings.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think conversations that we have, the more we show up, the more platforms we have to use our voice, the better it is. The last thing I just wanted to bring up is, you've talked so much like in the work and stuff that you post, and I would say, we were first introduced to you through our dear friends and partners over at Kitty and Vibe, and one of the things that we love about Kitty is that they showcase all people in bathing suits.
Yeah.
They, when they talk about like, how do you get like, beach body ready, put on a damn bathing suit and go to the beach and have
Go
an
to the beach.
amazing time, enjoy yourself. Um, and so you've really used your platform to say, you know what, like beauty doesn't fit one shape, one size, one standard. Let's be grateful for all the things our bodies can do. So how, to someone who's listening right now who is not there yet or feels like they're
Mm-hmm.
never going to be there. Um, how did you get to that place and what would you say to them?
So I think the biggest thing for me when it comes to really just feeling comfortable in my body in regards to, being in a bikini. So I am originally from Ohio, and then I did my undergrad at the University of Hawaii. So I was living in Hawaii for about 5.5 years. And of course, when you're in Hawaii, you're in a bikini bathing suit literally year round. And so I was really in this place where I was like, okay, well, I'm either going to really hate these next 5 years because I'm going to be really uncomfortable in a bikini, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to enjoy the beauty of the water and the ocean, things that you're surrounded by when you're in a bikini, or even at your pool, being at a pool or whatnot. And I think really one of the biggest things that I had to continually tell myself when I was out in public in a bikini was that there are so many people here, and why do I think I'm so special that everyone's looking at me and judging my body in a bikini? And so I always had to remind myself of that and tell myself that, you know what, these people, these families, these couples, they're here to enjoy themselves and to be with the people that they love and to enjoy the ocean. Why would they be staring at me and spending all their time thinking about my body and what my body looks like in a bikini? Because I know I didn't want to spend my time thinking about other people and how they looked. And so I think that was, really huge for me, and that it was me that was creating.
You're there. You're fine. We could hear you. Yeah.
I'm good. Okay. It froze, wasn't sure. So yeah, it's really, I had to really set myself down and say, okay, Carly, you know, this is something that's very normal. Everyone wears a bathing suit and, goes to the beach and they swim and all of this stuff. And so I really had to just remind myself that this is just another part of life. It's just It's really so important to remind yourself that people are more than likely not staring at you and talking about you. And if they are, they're really not anyone you want to associate yourself with. And so I really just learned to put on that bathing suit and look at my body and talk to it kindly, celebrate it. And I think that's huge. And if you're really struggling with your confidence and wearing something or putting on a bikini, I highly, highly recommend putting on a bikini, a bathing suit. The most important thing is that you feel comfortable wearing. Find something that really fits you well, something that really makes you feel comfortable and confident, and stand in the mirror and talk to yourself and celebrate your body and talk about the parts of your body you're struggling with, but compliment them. Talk about how thankful you are to have legs that function and to have a belly that's protecting your organs, and all of these really, really powerful things that we often forget to tell ourselves. And so I think that's the start, the first thing that you can really do when it comes to becoming more confident in a bikini or just in your body in general, is standing in front of a mirror and talking to yourself positively and giving yourself these compliments, because it'll sink in and it will get easier. I promise.
I love that. And like, you know, I think bringing it back to a place of gratitude and, you know, having you talk about, you know, having legs that work and having the privilege of having legs that work, I think is just, you know, I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in everything that in our minds we've decided are not good enough, that we're not able to see all the gifts in front of us or in our bodies. So, you know, and know that it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to, you know, like look in the mirror and be like, hello world, I love my body. You know, like it's not going to happen, and that's okay. And you know, it brings me back to, of course I have to talk about Jameela again. But on one of the podcasts that she did with Demi Lovato, you know, Demi was talking about the fact that, you know, for so long in her recovery, you know, her team kept on talking about like body love, like just body love. And, you know, she was in this place of, okay, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. It was like, for me in that moment, I don't think I was capable of body love. And she's like, so when I was able to sort of shift the conversation and get to a place of body acceptance or body tolerance, you know, and again, like, you know, like you know, like even going back to the mirror and saying like, body, I accept you for everything that you do for me, you know. But I have to agree, Carly, like I wasted so much of my life like being held back from, you know, when I get to this place, you know, in my body, well, then maybe I'll allow myself to do that. Or, you know, when I get to here, that time never came. Like, there's never going to be this time. Like, I know that the more and more I got entrenched in my eating disorder, the worse I felt about my body. So it didn't matter where I was with my eating disorder, if it was like, you know, when I was struggling with my anorexia nervosa or when I was struggling with my binge eating disorder, like there was never a time where I was like, okay, now it's acceptable for me to wear a bathing suit, or now it's okay for me to go somewhere. And like, I never got to that point. And like, we're again chasing this ideal in which we've come to believe that we need, or follow these rules that we have no idea where they came from, but we follow them, you know. And we have wasted, I know I wasted so much time, like, and maybe I'm not able, like maybe like a lot of us that are listening are not able to, you know, stand again in the mirror and be like, I love you so much, like you are so perfect. And there's like, you know, that's again like the black and white of it all. Like maybe like a step in the direction is, you know, whether it is like, you know, if like I live in South Florida, right? So I have the amazing privilege of being able to go to the beach. It's, you know, maybe even just going to the beach. Maybe you're not ready to put on a bathing suit and go to the beach, but getting to the beach. And then, you know, your next time wearing a bathing suit and doing X, Y, and Z. And just stop waiting for this perfect time for you to be okay in the skin you're in, to do all the things that we deserve to do. Like is really like I love that you talk about so much. It's like, being just going out there and living your life. And so I think that that's
Yeah.
just so important. And I love that. And
Hmm.
I think, and I want to share with our viewers. So you are starting to pursue a master's, right? Because you want to work with
Yeah.
individuals.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm starting my MBA in the fall,
Awesome.
and with a specialization in integrated health. So I'm focusing on eating disorders, because I want to be able to continue the education and the awareness, whether that be through just doing it myself or with another company, or whatever that may look like. I don't know what that looks like yet, but yeah, I'm starting that in the fall, and so I'm really excited to be able to put that time and energy and really just expand my knowledge, and to just be able to work with amazing organizations and stuff through my MSW. So yeah, I'm really excited.
That's so cool. We're so excited for
Yeah.
you. And I think it's so important. And, like I share this all the time when people ask me about starting the Alliance. And I'm like, you go through something and you have two choices, and both of them are amazing, fabulous. You could either, go through something and close the door and never talk about it again, which is absolutely great and fantastic, or you
Mm-hmm.
can use it to pay it forward. And I just think it's so beautiful that you are using it, that you're paying it forward, and that you're creating this shift in the conversation, and then providing,
Mm-hmm.
like, becoming a clinician one day,
Mm-hmm.
to help others on their journeys. So I just really
Yeah.
want to thank her for showing up tonight, for being part of our conversation, for part of the disruption, because, like,
Yeah.
I love stirring shit up. Like, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
like what people get to, like, we get to be okay in the skin that we're in, and
Yeah.
give Diane the middle finger and do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to have you in our corner.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
you know,
you for having me.
and I look forward to continuing our conversations. And yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
Take really good care.
You
Bye,
as
guys.
well. You as well. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.